What's going on, Brooklyn Nets fans? Welcome back into a draft special edition of the Brooklyn Boys. Alongside an in-person Connor Long, I'm Josh Woolever. As we get ready to break down every single pick the Nets made last night, they traded their second-round pick for two futures to Phoenix. They had 8, 19, 22, and then 26 and 27. I'm honestly pretty surprised that they ended up making all five of those selections. I was a big proponent in the trade-up situation, but I think overall, just to get my immediate thoughts out there, I was disappointed in this draft. I think that the Nets had so many assets. It was their first ever lottery pick in the Brooklyn era, and to me, they messed it up. But Connor, I'll throw it over to you for your thoughts.
First off, great to be with you in person. Great to watch the draft with you last night. Super happy to record the pod. We are back now that the draft's over to daily content. It will be a lot of me for the next month, as Josh thought it would be a good idea just to leave me high and dry and go to a sleepaway camp for a whole month where there's no devices. So it will be a lot of me over the next month. From now and then pretty much through the summer league on this podcast. So appreciate you all. Smash the like button and hit subscribe. What I will say about the Nets draft is I don't like Yegor Detman. We'll get into that in a little.
Yes.
I really like Nolan Traore. Nolan Traore. We just looked up the pronunciation. Really like Drake Powell. Like Danny Wolf and like Ben Shraf. I'm okay with Ben Shraf.
Saraf.
Yes, Ben Saraf. And then obviously they traded the second round pick. I like the majority of the players. I don't like the way the Nets kind of allocated which position. Excuse me. Like starting off with Yegor Detman with the 8th overall pick was a significant miss. This is someone who's 6'8" but barely snagged any rebounds. Someone who averaged over 2 turnovers a game at BYU. I mean, come on, we have Cam Johnson to turn the ball over for us already. We don't need another guy. We don't use a top 10 pick on a 6'8" guard who does that every game. Shot under 30% from 3, which is very, very troubling. I think what the Nets are looking for in Detman is someone who could dish out the ball quick, someone who has a lot of upside as a young and ascending player, and someone who has experience against somewhat top competition at the college level. And I think that's what they did at BYU. It's just I hate all the BYU players between Detman, between Zach Wilson. So Yegor Detman, not my favorite, but I can understand the logic as to why the Nets would want to take a flyer on someone like him with a top 10 pick. I thought Detman potentially at 19 it was, but turns out they were confident in using him at 8. Those are my thoughts on Yegor Detman. We can just go through here. Nolan Traore, the Nets' second pick, someone who played overseas. I really, really like Traore as a player. I think this is someone who's a great ball handler, who's a floor general, who can shoot the ball. I think he brings some athleticism to the table like that. Just don't like the fact that you doubled up at guard there. Then the next pick obviously was a bit of an interesting one. Obviously, the Hawks had to make the selection for the Nets. The trade will officially go through on July 6th. But it was Drake Powell of North Carolina. And this, I would say, is probably my favorite value selection throughout the draft. This is a guy who's over 6'5" with no shoes on. This is someone who's very athletic, a really, really wide wingspan, shot 40% from 3 on catch and shoot. I think this is a guy who could develop into a solid wing player for this Brooklyn Nets team and could shoot the 3 ball. So all in on Drake Powell. Ben Shraf is how you say it?
Saraf.
Don't have any hate against it right away. I have to look more into him. Don't know too much about him. I will definitely look more into that pick. Don't know too much about Ben Saraf. But then the last pick of the first round, Danny Wolf, the Israeli big man. He's really interesting. He's 7 foot. I think the first 7 foot of the Nets have had since probably Brook Lopez.
Or maybe was Drummond?
No, Drummond was like 6'10", 6'11". I don't know if he's officially 7 foot. I wouldn't really consider him a true net either. I mean, he only spent half a season with the squad. So probably Brook Lopez is less true net to be over 7 foot. Don't like the fact that this guy was crying as he began to slip out of the top 10. I will say that. But over 7 foot, which I like, pretty much averaged a double-double last year. He did. Can get you some rebounds, can give you 14, 15 points a night. Really want to see how he develops at the NBA level. I like the fact that you get another center in there because I really like Noah Clowney. I think he can develop into a solid three-point shooter. I think he can play a role on this team. I just like him more as a power forward than he is a center. And right now, the Nets only have one center officially under contract in Nick Claxton. I think Dameron Sharp will be extended, but I like the fact that you go out, you add another center, and the Nets were expecting, as we record at 5:19 p.m. here on the East Coast, we expected the Nets to be making another draft selection to kick off, but in the early second round in just a few hours. But it turns out they actually traded that pick in exchange for 2 second-round picks. So the Nets are officially done with the draft. So this is our overall recap here. Josh, what do you got?
Absolutely, Connor. I'll go through and give my quick flash on each guy as well. I think you pretty much summed up. I think we have pretty similar thoughts. But let's start with Yegor Demmin. What I thought, as soon as I saw New Orleans submit that pick, I thought it was easily going to be Kamal Malawach. But the fact that it wasn't, I think, shows to me that Sean Marks isn't willing to own up to a previous mistake. I think what Sean Marks is going through is he's saying, I committed to Nick Claxton for 4 years. Let's keep him around. Let's see if he can get back to what he once was. But I don't like it. Sean Marks is being arrogant in a sense and unfair to this Nets organization. I think that Yegor Demmin absolutely was not the pick. I'm all for international guys with high upside. Noah Asenge's on the board there. If you want to go that route, you got a guy right there in Asenge who I believe in a ton more, who's not coming off an injury, who wasn't as turnover prone, who didn't shoot 27% from three. I think there's a lot of problems with Demmin there. And I think around the league, consensus is that Demmin was not a top 10 pick. And you're right, there was a chance he was there at 19, which frustrates me because this was the most potential the Nets had in a draft in my lifetime, or at least that I can remember, and I think same for you. And they go out here, they get an extremely unproven guy, and chances are, I'll say chances are, I'll believe in him, I'll give him his fair shot, I will do that, but chances are, I'm not going to love what Yegor Demmin brings to this.
I'm going to just hop in here for a second to play devil's advocate. I mean, a lot of these guys are unproven. Like Kamal Malawach.
Very true.
Very unproven.
Very true, but I think Malawach is
the higher ceiling.
Correct.
Completely agree. That's where I stand with Asenge as well. People say Noah Asenge has a low floor. I actually completely disagree with that. Noah Asenge has played professional basketball before overseas. The chances of you missing on a 19-year-old who has played professional basketball in Europe before are very, very small.
And look, Demmin's a great passer. We'll give him that. He's got to improve the dribbling. He's got to improve the three-pointer. I could see him being the primary ball handler for this team, dishing it out at the point guard position. The question is, will he be solid around there? Let's move to 19 for me. Traore, I agree. I think this is a snag in the draft, honestly. Traore, a guy that can shoot it from three, you develop that shot. He's raw talent. That's Traore is what I would describe as raw talent. What did he average? 14, I think, last year over in France. So, he has experience playing overseas as well. If you can develop him from three, that would be awesome as a bench piece. I think this Nets team was lacking a ton of depth last year, so let's hope he can add something in that department. But this one's all on the coaches. This is all on Jordi Fernandez to coach this guy up into something that I think he can be. Then you go defensive with the next pick. I like it. Big wingspan and a scrappy defender. We were just watching a couple clips there earlier. And then the two Israelis back-to-back at 26 and 27. Out of those two, I like Wolf a lot more. He's a 7-foot forward center, but who moves like a guard. He is a smooth guy for somebody his height. Let's see if he can get to that NBA level where he is able to compete with guys like Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic in the lane, because that's going to be tough. Let's see what his physicality looks like there. But after that, I think that Danny Wolf is a completely unproven guy. So I think it's a waiting game on that one.
Absolutely. The Brooklyn Nets, I always feel confident in who they selected, reaching on Demmin.
Yeah.
I'd say even reaching on Sraff and Wolf, both those guys I'd kind of put in that category. I think those guys could have easily been second-round picks, but the Brooklyn Nets seemingly feel confident about their draft class based on what we've heard from Sean Marks. Pretty much 24 hours removed from the draft. The Brooklyn Nets feel confident. Will these players turn into great NBA-level players? We'll see. But Sean Marks and Jordi Fernandez certainly feel confident. Let us know your thoughts on this draft class in the comments down below. Make sure you smash that like, hit subscribe. Let's other Brooklyn Nets fans know what we are doing here on this channel. So appreciate you all. For Josh, I'm Connor, signing off here on this Thursday evening. Have a great rest of your night, and as always, go Nets.